variance. Changes, it's a
Change is constant.
Okay, counting now. Okay, if I can have your attention, Carla, would you please call roll?
Whitney Hall.
Here.
Walker Henson.
here.
Jacob Crumweedy.
Here.
Marvin Kusick.
Here.
Eddie Mack.
Here.
Cole Reen.
Here.
John Roberts.
Here.
James Simonek. David Trojan.
Here.
That is a quorum.
Thank you, Carl. I hereby call this May meeting of the Metropolitan Area Planning Commission to order. And the first item on the agenda is to consider approval of the minutes of the April 19th, 2021 MAPC meeting.
So moved. Approval.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve the minutes. All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? That motion carries. The third item on the agenda is use by review. Consider a use by review for Nextlink for communication tower to be located at 21 Wilderness Road, Garfield County, Oklahoma. Chris?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and Commissioners. My presentation will come up here in just a second. There it is.
I pulled that out.
There we go. When we look at our plat, we first take a look at our comprehensive plan. Welcome, Jacob. This is your first time, so feel free to interrupt me at any time.
Sure.
I don't say something that makes sense to you.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
This is the use by review that he read, not the plat.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm on item 3. I'm sorry.
My apologies. I was ready to do the plat.
You were ready to go, okay.
Because I knew the use by review was going to be tabled. My bad. I need to explain to the commission, we had this on the agenda for you tonight to take action. We thought we had time to get it posted. That did not take place. So this item needs to be tabled. It'll come back to you next month. I apologize.
Okay. I need a motion to table.
Motion.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to table the use by review for Nextlink. All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Now, that motion carries now.
Now there's my plat.
Okay, do you want me to read the preliminary?
yes, I will.
Okay. Consider a preliminary plat for Enid Soccer Complex being part of the Southeast Quarter, Section 16, Township 22 North, Range west of the Range 7 west of the Indian Meridian, Garfield County, Oklahoma. Chris?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is our picture of our comprehensive plan. You see 1526 South Garland. That's a white circle. That's not, the park is bigger than the circle, but we're just trying to show you where it is. It is in our agricultural and open space land use classification. The soccer complex is consistent with that. The next item we look at when we look at plats is we want to make sure we have adequate road, water, and sewer for the project. The city is an active participant in this project, and we have developed the water and sewer, and we've been helped with the improvements that you see along Garland for the A-cell, D-cell lanes going into the park. My last exhibit is the actual plat. There are 5 lots. The middle lot is right here, lot 1, and lot 5 wraps around it. Both 1 and 5 are the soccer complex. Lot 2 and 3 are right here. These are out parcels that will be developed at a later date. The 4th lot is right here, and that is for the stormwater detention. It complies with our preliminary plat requirements. Staff's recommendation is to approve and answer any questions.
The parking, is that going to be completed as part of this first phase?
Yes.
I got a question. So is there only one entrance into this and out?
I'm sorry, the graphic's a little small. The main entrance is right here, Commissioner. This is Garland. North is up. So this would be Route right here at the bottom of the screen. Here's Garland. The main entrance is right here. There is an entrance here. And then there's another entrance right here off of Route. So there are a total of 3.
Okay, so it's sufficient for emergency.
Yes.
And this is going to remain agriculture zoned for
Yes.
now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Parks are allowed in agricultural.
Sure.
Zoning is correct.
In regard to the out parcels, I'm assuming at some point in time, we could see a site plan
We will,
and different zoning requests, I'm assuming?
depending on what the use
Sure.
is.
And at that time, we could see sidewalks in front of those perhaps?
Well, I would have to check the sidewalk ordinance to answer that question.
Okay.
So are they required then to have fire hydrants here, being this zone still agriculture?
Yes, there will be fire hydrants on our water line loop, yes. There are actually going to be buildings, Commissioner. Right in this main part, there are some buildings here, and there's a maintenance building up in this corner. And of course, when they develop the out parcels, there will be buildings there as well. Now, this is the preliminary plat. The next step for the soccer complex is to prepare their final plat, which will come before you for review and recommendation to the Mayor and Board of Commissioners. They will be the ones that ultimately will approve the final plat. But preliminary plats are within your review, and if you approve it, then it's approved.
I'll make a motion to approve.
I have a motion and a second to approve the plat for the Enid Soccer Complex. All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Those opposed? And that motion carries. Item number 5, variances. Request, or consider a request for a variance to City Ordinance 10-6-1, Sidewalks Required for property located at 1628 North Van Buren.
Thank you, sir. The developer has asked for a sidewalk variance for his development, which is up here in this lot right here. And as you said, the ordinance requires sidewalks based on this area of commercial, industrial, and special use. Here's his application, and I believe the owner is here to speak for himself.
Sure. Thank you. Hello, everyone. Well, today we were going to ask the
Sir?
city. Yes.
State your name, please.
Darren James.
Okay, thank you.
Absolutely. Today we're asking for a variance for our property. And the reason why is because there are no other sidewalks to connect to it. And also the drainage ditch that is currently there, that we would have to build over that. Then also, there are 2 other facilities or other construction that was done recently that was given variances in the, I guess, area. And so we would like to be considered to have the variance as well.
Are you seeking a variance just for Poplar or for the entire property?
Just on the front edge, the Popular. Well, we're not on Popular.
It's Van Buren.
On Van Buren, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Bypass.
Staff, help me where the other variances might have been granted that he speaks of.
I don't know about that.
I don't recall any of the other variances at this moment, but we could definitely go look at. Do you happen to know?
We do. There's 2 other ones. If you look at Jack's Outdoor Power Supply, they added on to their facility, and they were not required to put a sidewalk in. Then if you look at, what was the other one, Dustin? Ironworks, they added a building in back, and they were not required to add a sidewalk.
Those have been, do you happen to remember the dates on those? That's been a while.
I do not, unfortunately. On 2014,
Those were done under a previous ordinance.
Right.
I've lost track of how many variations of the
Yeah,
sidewalk ordinance. But if I said a half a dozen, I would probably be pretty close,
Yeah.
maybe 8. I think that's more accurate. This is number 8. And Carla, I think it was 19 that this went into effect.
Yes.
This is the first variance under the City Commission's latest sidewalk ordinance. The other
Even when
2
this-
were granted under previous variations of that. Go ahead, I interrupted.
no, you're fine. So when the original sidewalks was put in was over 10 to 15 years ago, there was still code in there that they should have followed, and there was many different adjustments. And at that time, how did this building get approved in 2014 when those codes were already in there?
Both Ironworks and Jack's Outdoor Power applied for variances under the ordinance in effect at that time. And that's not been that many years ago, 4 or 5.
Okay.
They did grant a variance to Ironworks. Jack's If you're familiar with that, I'm a customer. It's always a challenge to back out of there because there's little islands that you have to work around. And they presented to the commission that basically along the Van Buren access road, that was all driveway. And they did a sidewalk, Jack's Outdoor Power, on the north side of their building. And the city commission approved that. So it was a variation of the sidewalk ordinance that was in place at that time. On Ironworks, I remember they just simply granted a variance.
And if I do recall, also Jack's did not put one in front of the other property that they acquired and built on.
They actually acquired, I don't know if they built onto that a whole lot.
Now, that's when they acquire it, it still comes one, right? As one building and one property?
But there's no new improvement. They just simply acquired an existing property that was adjacent to them, and they haven't changed that building at all.
Well, and I don't think they merged the plats into a common
Because
property.
even the canopy there for the wash rack, I was involved in that
Okay.
project, and that was done in 13 or 14, I think.
Yeah. Well, I know the big issue we ran into on all of Garriott was we did give a variance here and then a variance there, and then suddenly everybody expected it. And we've ended up with quite a casual.
Does it lay weird in any way? Is there culverts, ditches? Can you talk to that a little bit in very layman's terms?
Sure. I believe there's another slide, if you don't mind. Could you pull that one up? That's that it, okay. All right. So if you look at this slide that we have here, toward the bottom part, which would be the south side, there's a little indention, and that's where the drainage ditch is, and that's where it becomes an issue to put that sidewalk.
What does your engineer have to say about if there's any difficulties and/or exorbitant cost amounts in regard to going ahead with a sidewalk on that?
Just want to orient the commission so you know on this graphic where we're at. They are right here, this piece of property.
Yes, sir.
This is what they're looking.
Yes.
They're looking behind you there, and that's where they're
Okay.
at.
Thank you.
So this drainage that he's talking about is, you see this little area right here on their property? That's where you're talking about.
That is correct.
So.
Is that a dedicated easement for public drainage that the city has any responsibility
Well, there
for?
is a drainage, I'm pretty sure there's drainage easement too.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that.
But, I mean,
Would the city participate if it's crossing a public drainage area so far as?
I don't think that public drainage easement necessarily has a bearing on it. I would have to talk with Gerald after we get a little more information from the engineer. But we do find, as with our sidewalk partnership program, that we end up carrying a portion of those costs that get to be a little out of hand. And so, depending on what the designing engineer says in reference to what it would cost to do this, I think I would have that conversation with my boss.
But that's an extraordinary cost that would be well beyond what would be a normal sidewalk across a flat area.
Depends on the size of the structure.
Okay.
And having not actually looked at it or seen what the engineer would have to do to get a sidewalk across that channel, it's hard for me to make a comment other than that.
Would it be helpful, it may be for me to know what the sidewalk program is now and how that works?
Yes, we have a sidewalk partnership program that we use, where we set aside money in the budget for partnering with residents and commercial businesses who have existing sidewalks that are in need of repair. And the ordinance allows a 50-50 share of the cost, but we also take on any cost associated with corner nodes and ADA ramps because of the complication of the construction can get a little higher than what most people can afford to do to fix the sidewalks outside their homes. The ordinance does not allow the use of these funds for new development where sidewalks are required, but I do believe that once I get a little more information from the engineer, I would probably want to have a conversation with my boss.
So, Mr. James, what does your engineer say about it right now? You were given some paperwork.
They were thinking it was roughly around $15,000 just pour the concrete across there, but I don't know if that's going to include going over that drainage. And I have to ask this.
So what correct me if I'm not hearing this right, I'm hearing that perhaps we need to have a little more conversation between engineering and your engineer?
Correct.
Perhaps. I'm thinking if we're not 100% ready, I would make a motion to table this until they can have a further conversation.
Yeah.
In my opinion, the city of Enid should be paying for the sidewalk over this drainage.
Well, and that's why I would make a motion to table that and let them have some further discussion on
Yeah, my only
that.
concern is if you build a sidewalk there, it's not going to connect to anything else.
It probably will not, but with our new sidewalk ordinance, Whitney and I participated in that, and we sat down and Gerald and Chris, I was trying to think how many people were involved in that.
Almost.
Previous Commissioner Waddell was there, Mason. We sat down and had many hours of conversation and looking at maps, and because you're right, we have granted a lot of variances. It is spotty. At some point, that may not stay as it is. Your neighbors, I'm concerned if there is some extraordinary engineering, so if we don't table it, I would have to deny it, but I think you guys need some more time to have some discussion. So once again, I make a motion to table it.
I've got that table on the floor.
Second?
Okay, I have a motion, and a second to table this. All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Those opposed?
Yeah, aye.
Will this delay your project if this is tabled?
I don't know.
No, the way I understand it, it won't.
You just-
The sidewalks.
How many-
Passed anyway, so.
How many
We're good.
denies?
One nay here.
Was anybody, do I have any other nays? Okay. Okay, the motion to table carries. That's where we're at right now. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Appreciate it, guys.
Okay.
And ladies.
Okay, the next item on the agenda, on the agenda is to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
For the
Second.
record, motion and second to adjourn. All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Those opposed? And that motion carries.
Aye.